Yo, 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 what is going on, coaches? It's your man, Jay Emmanuel, back with a new episode of Multiply Your Sales. And as y'all can see, I'm joined by the very lovely LaShana. What's going on with you today?
Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm super excited to have you on the podcast today because we're going to be diving into a topic that I know you're going to be able to help a lot of the coaches with. And that's those mindset blocks that are keeping them from consistently landing clients. So if that's
Mhm.
you that are listening out there, you coaches that are struggling to land those clients, you might have some mindset blocks, some issues, and you don't know how to navigate those waters. My girl LaShana is going to help you out today. With that in mind, I want to kind of get your thoughts on this, LaShana. Why do you think some coaches tend to have these mental mind blocks that keep them from landing clients?
Yeah, so I think when it comes to mindset, regardless if you're a coach, a stay at home mom, a high performing executive, that is something that we all struggle with. And so when it comes to landing clients, I think the first thing is confidence and clarity.
Mm,
If you're not confident in how you can solve the problem and you're not clear on how to articulate that, then you'll start to get in your head, which then puts you in a negative spiral. And then sometimes it leads to imposter syndrome. So I think it starts with having clarity and confidence in what you're doing.
nah, that's clear. That's where I like the way you put that.
Yeah.
Confidence and clarity, so easy for you guys to remember that. And with that in mind, I kind of want to go down memory lane for you. When you look back on your journey as a coach, what would you say was a time when you experienced a mindset block that was hindering you from landing new clients?
Yeah, great question. So, my trade is mental health. I'm a therapist by trade. I have 20 plus experience as a therapist. And if you think about it, a therapist is a coach. You know, we're leading you to your answer. We're helping you to self reflect, maybe even holding yourself accountable for what has happened for you, not to you. And so I literally took those transferable skills and moved into coaching. And when I
Mm,
first started, I was struggling to get clients because I didn't, number one, know what kind of clients I wanted to serve. I
mm,
didn't know exactly how to articulate my craft. And I had to seek support. When
yeah.
you pay attention. So I hired a coach and learned more
Mhm.
about entrepreneurship because this is the thing. It's not that I didn't know how to do the thing that I was doing.
Mhm.
Business was just new to me, new
Right.
territory. So I hired someone who knew that arena,
Mhm.
and from there, knowledge is power. You get to rinse and repeat. And
Yeah.
fast forward, I've been able to leave corporate. I'm 3 years clean from corporate. Yes.
Nice. Congrats.
Like you're doing drugs. You know what I'm saying? And that was because I was able to be vulnerable, ask for help, learn the information, implement, and activate.
Yeah. With that in mind, I think you touch on something that all of us have heard probably at some point or another, which is, yo, go ask for help. Why do you
Mhm.
think some coaches will continue to kind of just hit their head up against the wall instead of seeking out the help?
Yeah. So I used to be there. I think number one, it's a money mindset block. And
Mm,
what that is not believing that you will do the work. That's the root cause. But
okay.
instead, we say, oh, if I pay, is that going to help me? Or I'm not
Mm,
paying them all that money. And we forget that you're not investing in the person, place, or thing. You're investing in yourself, right?
mhm.
So I think a lot of coaches, a lot of people, they go to YouTube University, Google Institute, Pinterest, Pinnacle. I'm just making up.
Yeah.
And then we figure out this is not working. And if it's working, it's not working as fast as you want it to.
Hmm.
So then you have to do your due diligence, find someone who you feel is in alignment with what you need.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, sometimes it is a crapshoot
Hmm.
because you got some people who are telling you the what, but not showing you the how.
Right.
Then you got some people who do tell you the what, show you the how, and you get what you need, but you don't really know until you do your due diligence and you try it. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
Nah, that's real. That's real. And then you got those that will do it for you, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And, you get to a point where it's like, okay, I know how to do it. I figured that out. Somebody taught me. And now I see other people out there that's offering a service. Well, y'all would take that off of my hands. And then you can do what? Focus on where your skill set lie, right? And I
Right.
think that that's a
Is that a
very
shameless
important.
plug?
What's that?
Is that a shameless plug?
No, 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 not at all. It's just
Mhm.
calling it like it is, right? I think
Yeah.
you go through that process like you mentioned, where you beating your head up against the wall, you realize you
Mhm.
need help, you get the help from the right person, you learn how to do that thing that was a challenge for you, and
Right.
then when that business sense kicks in, you realize like, okay, I'm making enough bread now. where
Mm-hmm.
I can just pay somebody else to do this other thing that is not necessarily my strong suit, but I know needs to get done. And I can focus more of my time doing the stuff that I love and enjoy doing the most. And I think that's where it really kind of, that's that sweet spot. But it takes time to get there, right?
For sure.
Yeah. So when you look back on your experience as well, like you mentioned the fact that you had that block that came up and you sought the help of a coach. I'm
Mhm.
curious to know, like, how long was that period of time before you recognized, like, oh, I got this block and I need to go get help? Like, how long did it take you?
So honestly, it took longer than it needed to.
Mm-hmm.
I was tight with my money, and I'll tell you why. I was in corporate, making probably like 60, 70K, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was new to entrepreneurship. So when I seen, $97 for a phone call or 197 for this, in my mind back then, I'm like, I'm not finna pay them no $100 for
Right.
XYZ. Right, right.
Right. Yeah.
Fast
I
forward, I'm
think we all been there, right? It's like, yo, well, who they think they are?
so so that's the mentality I had. And I even paid for like the conference.
Mm-hmm.
And when they went up and did their pitch, I'm in the seat hating like, I'm not gonna give you no car.
Right.
And this is what was the catalyst.
Mm,
The program that I initially signed up for, I think the lady asked for like 8,000. And I'm sitting
mhm,
in the seat in the audience. And I'm like, I'm not gonna give her no car. So I go home with what I learned. I implemented it, made a little money, went back the next year, and I seen everybody who was in the audience with me who went on stage and embarked on the journey for the
mhm,
8,000. They literally hit six figures.
mm, mm,
And because of fear,
mhm,
because of me being indecisive on if I wanted to invest or not, I lacked the confidence and I also lacked the courage. So that year I
mhm.
did invest. It was 12,000. It went up.
Yeah,
Okay. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
right.
And lo and behold, I did the work, learned, was able to hit six figures and
Mhm.
beyond, left corporate, the whole nine. But it took me some time to bump my head, like you said,
Yeah.
before I pulled the trigger. And everybody's journey is different. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah, and it's so important because, like, when you look at those mindset blocks, I love the way that you called out the one earlier and mentioned that it was a money block, a money mindset block. And I think knowing what type of block it is just as important, right? Because sometimes it may be what's known as like a knowledge block, right? In the sense of there's something that you just don't know. It's not that you can't do it. It's not that you aren't able to get the results that you want. It's just that there's something that you don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to get that information. And once you get the information, things will just start falling into place.
Right.
And to your point, other times it's just the money thing where it's just like, maybe that'll work, but I don't know if I'm ready to gamble like that. And I can totally understand because I'm not a gambling person, and
Mm-hmm.
I try my best to make wise decisions when it comes to my money. And I think
Yeah.
that is so important for people to recognize. Like, is this a money block? Is this an excuse that I'm making that's holding me back from being where I want to be? So I'm really glad that you pointed that out.
Thank you. Hence why I do the work that I do. I
Mhm.
help entrepreneurs pinpoint the mindset blocks to stopping them from launching and growing.
Yeah.
It could be money mindset, it could be unresolved trauma that
Mhm.
rears its ugly head. And now you're bringing that baggage into the current. It could be imposter syndrome. So I help you identify what it is, and then we work on it together so you
Yeah.
can increase your revenue and ultimately increase your impact.
That's so important. And with that in mind, I'm sure that you've identified multiple different mindset blocks that hinder people. I'm
Yeah.
curious, what would you say is like the silent killer, for lack of a better term? Like, what is that one mindset block that most coaches are just like not even aware that that's what their struggle is?
Yeah. So I thought you would say what's the number one. So the number one is fear. But
Hmm.
the silent killer
Hmm.
is unresolved childhood trauma
Mm.
that you never or you haven't addressed effectively,
Hmm.
and it starts to pour into and spill into
Hmm.
your current.
Mm.
Right? For example, let's say you grew up in a dysfunctional household, and you really didn't have a voice, and so you kind of just was under the radar. Parents weren't with the light, with the warm and fuzzy
Hmm.
affirmations and all that, so you kind of just got by. Okay, so now you're in young adulthood, you're in adulthood, and you're kind of doing the same thing. You're not being
Mhm.
assertive in your communication. You might be scared to speak up for yourself. And now you started a business and you have clients
Mhm.
who need support, who are doing things, and you're people pleasing, you're minimizing, and you're
Mhm.
not standing full in your power. That would be an example of unresolved trauma not being
Mhm.
addressed, and now it's spilling over into your business.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. And I see, like, to me this, and definitely correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like this is what gives you an edge coming into coaching, having first been a therapist, because that is something that, let's just be honest, like some other therapists, or excuse me, some other coaches
Mhm.
either will not be able to identify that as the block,
Yep.
or even if they identify it, they will either, one, do their client a disservice by trying to fix that or address that issue, knowing that it's outside of the scope of what they have the capabilities of doing,
Right.
or they can come to somebody like yourself who not only can assist them identify the block, but actually has the know-how to walk you through that process in addition to coaching you. Like, man, that's a game.
Yeah. Thank you. And I'll also add, when they go to a regular business coach, a lot of times that business coach is not aware. So they're calling it procrastination. They're saying that the
Mm,
person's not doing the work, or they'll
mhm.
try to fix it, and that's not their expertise. So all the time and energy is exerted on the mindset stuff, and they
Yeah,
never get to the business. So
right.
both parties end up losing. The client's like, well, you didn't help me do XYZ, like you said. And
Mhm.
then the coach is burned out because they're exerting all this mental energy when it should have been strategic and business energy.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
Create some
almost one of those
content
things. No, say that again. I apologize. I
have
cut
to
you off.
create some content with this same scenario because it's just so mind blowing.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. And I would say for any coaches out there that are listening that have found themselves in that situation before, or may be in that situation now with a client where you're spending a lot of that time coaching, addressing the issue that should be handled by a therapist, like there's nothing wrong with advising your client to go seek therapy. Like, don't try to take on that role. Don't just because, and I mean, I think this may even fall into place, especially if it's a high ticket coach. They may
Mhm.
think, oh, well, this person is paying me like $10,000. So I have to like fix this problem. I have to be the one that breaks them through this. But yo, sometimes you just got to recognize that that's not actually what they're paying you to do. Like the
Yeah.
fact that you identified it is a huge step. Now
Mhm.
send them over to somebody that can really address the heart of that issue and not get in the way of the work that you're called to do for them.
For sure. And actually, Jay, I
Mhm.
partner with therapists.
Wow.
Um, sorry, I partner with business coaches. They hire me to
Okay.
be, because I don't do formal therapy. What I'm doing
Mhm.
is business therapy. It's the best of
Okay.
both worlds, right?
Mm.
So you cannot pay me through your insurance. It's more so like a life coach, business coach blend.
Mhm.
So what I've done, I partner with coaches who have communities, who have high ticket programs, and they hire me on and kind of white label me. So now
Mm.
it's, hey, book a call with LaShana instead of go start services with LaShana. No, I'm part
Right.
of your team.
Oh man, I love that.
Yeah.
Man, LaShawna, you are a very wise businesswoman because there's nothing better than turning your quote unquote competition into business partners. Like,
Yes.
I see you. That's next level. That's next level.
Yeah, and
With
honestly, it's not. So this is the thing. At the end of the day, if Keisha has a community and it's thriving and she's doing her marketing and things are working,
Mhm,
but there is a gap, and the gap is most of the people she serves struggles with the issue that I solve.
mhm.
Why not come together instead of me being on an island doing? Now, mind you, I still do my own thing, but
Right.
what I've learned is to partner and collaborate, and everybody gets to eat and everybody gets
Mhm.
to win.
Yeah. And that's the reason why I'm giving you your flowers for that, because I'll be honest, I think that, when we're talking about mindset blocks, I think that that's one block that some people have, is that they're so focused on that's the competition. That's the competition, that they can't see how the quote unquote competition is actually a partner if you have the ability to see that. If you're able to get past that block of, oh no, like I don't want them taking my clients, or I ain't sending my clients over. That's
Right.
not the right way to look at it.
Right. And actually that's a scarcity mindset.
Mm,
That's the other silent killer.
mhm,
Scarcity mindset. Well,
mm,
if I do this, will this happen? And if I spend this, will this happen? If I launch this new offer, are they really going to buy? How do you know if you don't do it?
right.
You have to look at feelings versus facts.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it won't happen, but the fact of the matter is, I have everything that I need. I have the skills, the knowledge, the expertise, and now I have to, I call it my triple T method, try, test, and tweak.
Mm.
Because entrepreneurship is a big hypothesis. Nobody really knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Wow.
Period.
Wow.
I don't give a damn if you are Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, Eric Thomas. It does not matter. You know how I
Right.
know? I see the same social media posts, the same emails, the same live events
Mm-hmm.
because everybody's testing.
Right. Right. Nah, that's
Okay,
real.
I'll stop.
Nah. Like, and what you're saying, I think it goes perfectly in tandem with what you were mentioning earlier about those two C's, right? Confidence and clarity.
Yeah.
And when you have that, it takes the testing, the tweaking, and hold on, what was it? It was try, test, and tweak. Did I get it right? Is that it?
You did.
Okay, yeah, right. So the three T's. Like I love this. So when you do that, when you have that confidence, when you have that clarity, then you're actually able to try things that can actually get an impact, make an impact in your sales with
Yeah.
landing new clients. And I think that what could be a hurdle is when a person lacks that confidence, when they
Mhm.
lack that clarity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, this is good. This is good. So one of the things that we talk about here on this podcast in particular is how to increase sales, how to land clients using video, email, as well as podcasts. When you look at your business, which of those three has been most effective for you landing clients?
I would more say social media,
Hmm.
which is video.
Hmm.
Even though I do all three, but if I had to pick one, it would be social media because you get to repurpose it and
Hmm.
use it in different mediums. For example, my team will take my videos, create a blog. That information will be derived into an email. It might be a topic that is on the podcast. Everything is consistent. But one thing I can do, for example, right after this, I'll probably give a quick reel on the recap that turns into a reel, which then we can chop up into a short. So yeah, definitely the video for me.
I love that. And with that in mind, what are some strategies when it comes to video that you've tried, right? Kind of going back to your three T's that you've
Mhm.
tried and you found weren't necessarily effective for you when it comes to landing new clients?
Yeah, so honestly, because I try a lot, I'm one of those that very consistent and persistent. I don't give up, right?
Hmm.
So I create every single day. There
Okay.
has not been a day that I don't create. That does not mean everything gets 500, 1,000, 20K views and 1,000 comments. I
Hmm.
don't care. I don't worry about numbers. If I
Hmm.
did, I would not be creating every day
Hmm.
because more, I don't know if it's the algorithm, I don't know what's going on, but it just seems like I'm not getting a lot of traction. However,
Hmm.
I don't focus on that.
Right.
I get it off my plate. I do what I have to do. I serve. I'm obedient. And who is going to reach is who it will reach, right?
Hmm.
So I guess it took me a while to get on TikTok. I
Hmm.
just didn't resonate for some reason.
Hmm.
And then I'm seeing all these people who literally have 5 followers on Instagram and 5 million on TikTok. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? So
Hmm.
I'm still learning how to navigate it.
Hmm.
But it took me a while just to get 1,000. And once you reach 1,000 followers, you're able to go live and do some other things. And I was consistent in just giving it more time and attention. And I hit the 1,000. So now I'm at like, I don't know, 1,700 or something like that. If that, it
Hmm.
might not be. But that would be the thing is I feel like it's not working for me yet because
Hmm.
nothing has went viral yet. I
Hmm.
haven't really seen any clients coming from it,
Hmm.
but I still have a presence on there. I'm not going to stop.
Yeah. It really reminds me of the fact that that method is still being tested to see,
Mhm.
like, am I going to be able to get some of the results that other people are getting? But at the core of it, your foundation, which I would identify as consistency, is still in place regardless of what platform you're showing up on. is
Yes,
that is that an accurate assessment?
most definitely.
Yeah. And with that in mind, let's talk about that because I think that that kind of ties back to the mindset blocks as well, is where somebody will pick a platform or, God forbid, try to be on multiple platforms at once and they're not getting the results because they are focused on the numbers and they're not adding up and they're not seeing
Mhm.
new clients come in and they totally abandon the consistency.
Yep.
What would you advise somebody to do that has started down this path and they're not seeing the results that they want and they're struggling with staying consistent?
I would remind them about the build, know, like, and trust factor.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're being inconsistent and you have all the other variables, I'm not going to say the competition, I'm going to say the volume of other things going on. Life is lifing, uh, all the things going on. Then what makes you think that just because you go live or you create once or twice a week that you're going to get results?
Yeah.
Number one, I have to know who you are. I have to understand who you are, and then I got to figure out if I like you, if I know you, if I want to trust you. That takes a while.
Mm-hmm.
That takes a process, and I would also tell them to put themselves in their own shoes. When you think about going to get your hair cut or getting your nails done or go getting your hair done, you don't just see one person or one thing and say, "Boom, let me click, let me buy."
Right.
You're probably lurking, you're probably
Yeah.
seeing, you're probably reading testimonials. You might go try it once and then you're like, I don't know if I like this, and you go somewhere else. You're hopping around.
Mm-hmm.
Life is going to always life. So at the end of the day, if you are truly passionate about the thing that you do
Mm-hmm.
and you believe in it,
Mm-hmm.
then release the ego, because it's not about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about who you're serving.
Right, right. And there's something that you mentioned earlier about the fact that you create every day. And I also heard you mention the fact that, you have a team that's also working with you. How do
Mhm.
you personally determine what things you're going to do, whether it be on a daily or a weekly basis, versus the things that you pass along for your team to manage?
Yeah, so I focus on income driven opportunities, income driven activities. However, my team, yeah, they can create graphics and carousels and whatnot, but they can't have the video up. It's not and be me. So,
Mhm.
for example, yesterday I did a quick video. I sent it to my team. I said, "Hey, create a reel out of this. Use this kind of format, and the call to action should be X, Y, Z."
Mhm.
Right now, we're working on launching my masterclass. So
Mhm.
I'm more so directing instead of doing.
Okay.
They say don't work in the business, work on the business. However, no, we need to be working above the business. My goal
Mm.
is to fade all the way out at some
Mhm.
point, right? But right now, my hands are in things, but I'm not the one actively doing it.
Okay.
Um, so they're doing the emails, but they have the direction from me. They know what
Mhm.
we're focused on. They might be replying to comments on my page, whether
Mhm.
that's mini chat with AI or whether that's my team, but they've learned my voice, right?
Mm.
When I
Mhm.
first started, LaShana was doing everything,
Mhm.
but you should be fading out so then you could go to speaking engagements and be on podcasts as a guest.
Yeah.
If I'm doing all the things, then when I get a request, hey, can you come on podcast? I'm not going to have time,
Right.
right?
Right.
So you really have to decipher what are the things that you can do,
Mhm.
should be doing, and must be doing.
Mhm.
And once you figure that out, you have more work life balance.
Yeah. And in your experience, what have you found to be like the key indicator that it's time to make that shift from doing it yourself to now investing in a team to start picking up some of that slack?
Yeah. So number one, do you have the resources and revenue to invest in a team?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when I say team, I'll be honest with you, one's an intern and one is a paid staff.
Mm-hmm.
At first, both of them were interns. There's
Mm-hmm.
several ways to skin a cat. And when
Yeah.
I say interns, is there someone that needs practice, that needs hands-on experience, and in exchange, they get to learn, they get testimonials, things of that nature. There's several ways to skin a cat.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say when you're meeting and exceeding your revenue goals and there's extra,
Mm-hmm.
that's when you should hire. But if there's not, and I'll be honest with you, someone else may say, I don't care if there's extra, I'm a hire regardless because I need the time. That's on you. But the way my
Yeah.
brain works, if I have time in my schedule because I don't have clients,
Mm-hmm.
why would I go and pay someone to do something that I could be doing so I can retain that revenue? So honestly, that's a
Sense.
very, very great question. It depends on your personality type
Mm-hmm.
and what your ultimate goal is.
Yeah, I think that you gave a very objective answer, right? Which is when you can invest, it should be time to invest.
Right.
And that goes back to the money mindset block that we were talking about earlier. Is like if you are a coach out there, you killing it, you crushing it, you got clients coming in, you making good money, you could invest, but that money mindset, or excuse me, that money block is hindering you from
Mhm.
saying, let me go pay somebody to take some of this work off my plate. Man, like that's definitely something that needs to be addressed because I can say not necessarily from a business perspective, but from a
Mhm.
content creating perspective, I've definitely had to learn how to let go. Like even with like podcasting and editing my own show for so long, editing other people's show. I'm like, yo, if other people are able to trust me with editing their stuff, why can't I also like take my hands off and see what somebody else can do? So I
Right.
had to do that, and it works when you do it. Like at
Mhm.
least in my experience, I feel like if you find something that you don't necessarily need to be doing, and somebody else is able to take it off your plate, by all means, let them.
Yeah, most definitely. Now, mind you, there should be a onboarding and a training period. You
Right,
can't just baptize people by fire because you're not going to get the
right,
result. So I still
definitely.
serve as a project manager and an overseer of what's going on because I also have other clients that my team does things for. It's like a mini
Hmm.
VA company,
Hmm.
but everything goes through my eyes first.
Okay.
At some point, I don't want to have to be that person. I want to have
Mhm.
someone. However, it's just a my name's on it. So I feel
Right.
like my stamp has to be on it. Everything is it's a process.
It is. It is. And going back to, the strategies when it comes to using video for you in your business, you talked about, the strategies that you're testing out that haven't necessarily produced the results you want yet. Let's kind of go back to your three T's. What have you tried, tested, tweaked, and found to be a client getting, system for you?
Yeah, for sure. So honestly, master classes.
Okay.
Having a free masterclass as the funnel, that's
Hmm.
basically the lead magnet. They
Hmm.
come, they learn more about you, your journey, what the transformation is that they want,
Hmm.
and they get to see your personality and how you flow in live in action. And then you pitch at the end of that masterclass. For those that buy, awesome. For those that don't, you put them on a nurturing email sequence so
Yeah.
you can continue to cultivate their relationship and then invite them on a call
Hmm.
and hopefully close them. If not, they're now on your email list. They now know about you. And as long as you're consistent, at
Right.
some point, they're going to pull the trigger. And if not, they're not in alignment. They end up unsubscribing. They make more room for the people who are ready to go.
Right. Nah, that's good. That's good. So, with that in mind, are there any other strategies that you found work around video, emails, and podcasts for you? Because I know you mentioned also like being a guest on podcasts like you are right now. I'm not sure if that's something that's also a part of your strategic plan too.
Yeah, for sure. So, at the end of the day, yes, anytime I'm sharing my expertise, that's a part of
Hmm.
the plan. And what I would call is leveraging other people's audiences, right?
Hmm.
In addition, speaking engagements, making sure you have someone who's capturing video
Hmm.
so you can repurpose that and also connect with the new audience who you're speaking to. So
Hmm.
you always got to remember that everything is content. For example, before I set up my thing right now talking to you, I set up my tripod. So there's a tripod going that's capturing this time lapse. Don't worry, I'm not going to share nothing. But
Nah,
then
you could.
right? You put music over the time lapse, and then that is video
Yeah,
that you can share on a reel, et cetera, et cetera. So now I'm here and I got some other stuff cooking in the kitchen. You feel
I
me?
love that. I love that. Yo, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. And since our overarching topic is about mindset blocks, I want to kind of tie that into what we're talking about when it comes to video. Were
Mhm.
there any mindset blocks that you had to overcome when it came to, getting on camera, getting on video, being consistent with that?
Yeah, for sure. So I only share this story when it's relevant. A part of my resiliency story
Mm,
is what I call it, because a lot of times people think that if they've experienced trauma or if something has happened for them, not to them,
hmm.
that it's their woe is me story. So a part of my resiliency story is I have had 4 reconstructive jawbone surgeries in my
Oh,
life. Yeah,
wow.
yeah. So growing up, I was teased and bullied and
Mm,
called crooked mouth because when I was growing up, I was running from my mom. And this
hmm.
is a part of my resiliency story. I grew up in a dysfunctional household. And it's
Mm,
so funny. We end up teaching something that we have experienced and that we've been through.
hmm.
And it comes full circle, whether it's a Tyler Perry movie or whether it's got some trauma in it or not.
Hmm.
I think a lot of us are running from the thing that is
Hmm.
literally going to set us free and others free.
Yeah.
Sidebar.
Nah,
So,
that's bars.
okay, how I broke my jaw, basically, I was running
Mm,
from my mom because she was trying to whoop me.
mm,
Back in the 1980s, because I'm 41, so I was like 2 or 3 in the 1980s, do
mhm.
the math, and I know it look good for 41.
Yes.
Anyway, so look, tone it down, tone it down. So, I'm running from my mom because I lost a $100 bill.
Mm.
Back in the 1980s, a $100 bill was worth like how much?
Yeah, a lot more than it is today.
A whole lot, right? So when I cracked my jaw on the ground because I was
Mm,
running, I tripped over something. She rushed me to the hospital and they just stitched up my jaw. They didn't do X-rays.
mm,
And in that moment, if you think about a little kid, your bones are soft and fragile. It
yeah,
started to grow crookedly.
mm,
And we noticed it at around the age of 7 or 8, had a reconstructive jawbone surgery. As I was growing, it would straighten and shift back.
mm,
So by the time I was 35, I had 4 reconstructive jawbone surgeries. And in
oh,
that moment, I didn't want to speak in large crowds. I didn't want to do
mm,
anything like this. I was running from my gifts.
mhm,
And so I engaged in exposure therapy, which is
mm,
literally doing the thing that you are
mhm,
afraid to do.
mhm,
So I would raise my hand in corporate and present. You know, I would sing in crowds, even though I was like
mhm,
nervous, because I could really sing. And
mhm,
what that did, it sharpened a muscle that I didn't even know existed. So now I get
mm.
paid to do what I was afraid to do.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yo, you
And
dropping bars, man.
so that's why I'm so confident in what I do, because I know if I can do it
Mhm.
after all of that trauma and drama and strife and tribulation, you dang show can do it,
Yeah,
right? And
yeah.
so I am the one that's been chosen to literally share my story
Mhm,
and impart inspiration and motivation, and also hold my clients accountable like that
mm,
little cheerleader in their pocket, so they can go live and stop being scared if they have a lisp, or if they stutter, if they have a lazy eye, or if they ain't got their lashes on, whatever it is, because
mhm.
guess what? Nobody really cares.
Yeah, yeah.
They want to know what's in it for me.
Right,
Whether if I
right.
get on here with the bonnet on, or I got lashes on, or makeup or not,
Mhm,
what am I saying? How's it going to help my audience? And how are they going to be able to go from point A to
mhm.
point B?
Right.
And that's why I said you have to release the ego, because it's not even about you, and be obedient, share the information. You have to turn the camera on, and there's always going to be one person that's like, wow, my life has been changed. My mindset has been changed. And if there's at least one person, my job is done.
Yeah. I love that. Oh man, yo, you've been dropping bars throughout our entire convo. Absolutely love it. One of the things that I'm curious about is, what you're working on. When you look at your business right now, what's the current project that you're working on and that you hope to get completed by the end of 2024?
Yeah. So I'm not sure when this is dropping, but on December 18th, I have a Finish Strong Masterclass. And
Mm,
literally what that is, it's making people understand that it's not even about the physical or the money. It's a mental
mm,
game. And so we have to self-reflect on what's been going well, what we've been able to accomplish, and be more intentional on how we want to wrap up this season.
yeah.
So that's going on. And then also, I am literally pivoting, and I want to start helping therapists move from the couch to coaching,
Mm.
just like I did, because we need more business therapists in the arena.
That is dope. That's dope. So I'm curious, like both of those are big feats. Like, have you faced any challenges with either of those thus far?
Great question. So there's been some procrastination,
Mm,
right? I've had the idea about helping therapists move from the couch to coaching for over a year.
mm-hmm,
In regards to the Finish Strong masterclass, I haven't done a masterclass in probably, I would say, 6 to 9 months.
mm,
I am multifaceted, so I do lots of things. Right
mm-hmm,
now, I'm in my event space.
mm-hmm.
It's called Pop Up and Create. I'm located in Atlanta,
Um,
so I'm hosting events, I'm producing events, I'm serving my clients, I'm doing consulting. Um, I have a lot of stuff going on, so a lot of times, is that avoidance,
mm,
right? Or is it lack of passion, lack of motivation? I'm literally doing the same thing I do with my clients. We
mm,
dig deep to assess, okay, why are you procrastinating?
Mm,
Are you scared? Are you is
mhm,
there some scarcity where you're like, well, if I have this, is people going to resonate? What is it? And then the next question is it necessary right now?
mm,
So I had to
yeah,
process and go through all of that. And now here we are where I am pulling the trigger to niche down to help therapists. And
yes,
the thing with niching down, they say niches are in the riches. And then there's another part that's like, well, if I niche down, I only help therapists. What about everybody else that might need my help? So
mm,
everybody struggles with the same thing.
yeah,
The question is, when are you going to make a decision and just do it to
right.
see what happens? And I'm at the do it stage.
That's amazing, yo, because that can be a hurdle. And like you mentioned, all of those steps when you're walking yourself through that process of figuring
Mhm.
out, okay, like why haven't I pulled the trigger yet? And then when you actually do, like then it
Mhm.
becomes a whole new set of challenges that you then have to encounter, right? So even once you make the decision, you take that first step, it doesn't mean that it's just going to be smooth sailing, but the good thing about it is you're committed to the journey, and I think that's really important.
Mhm. Most definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Nah, yo, this has been such a great convo. One of the things I want to do before we wrap up is just hand the mic over to you. Are there any questions that you like to ask me personally, or any last or closing words you like to leave our listeners and our viewers with?
Yeah, so I would like to ask you what made you get into the realm of your focus right now?
Yeah, the three T's. Like the three T's, like I have tried, tested, and tweaked. And I would say
Mhm.
with this podcast in particular, to kind of give some backstory, like I've been podcasting for like over 10 years. I've had successful podcasts, some that didn't turn out the way that I wanted. But my most successful podcast was a relationship show that I ran for over 8 years. And my interest started to shift more towards business, I would say maybe about 3 years ago.
Mhm.
And it took me a while to finally pull the trigger for you. I had to go through that same process of figuring out why haven't I started this podcast. And for me, it just wasn't the time. But when I got the green light, when God was like, yo, now is the time to do it, it I didn't have clarity. And that's something that has always been a challenge for me is I'm one of the people that I want to see the end. Like show me what's gonna happen. I'm not really a fan of the unknown. Like, where are we going here? And I had to do it without doing that because I'm like, yo, I really don't know. I know that I want to help people when it comes to business.
Right.
And when I launched the podcast, Why We Succeed, what podcast I had before what we are on now, it was
Mhm.
about I want to help content creators. I want to help agency owners. I want to help business people. There's like I know that there's so many people that I can help. I want to help coaches too, right? And
Mhm.
it took me doing that show for, a little over a year and a half. And then I was able to step back and say, okay, I tried this, I tested this, I've seen what works, I've seen what may not necessarily be the thing that I want to do long term. And
Mhm.
then personally starting to see where are my interests at, like who am I having the greatest impact on, and
Yeah.
that's when I started to get clarity. And to your
Mhm.
point, right, all the things that you said is coming into play, right? You saw the three T's, now the two C's is coming up.
Yeah, you
So
moving through your framework for sure.
facts. So then I started to get the clarity, and I was like, yo, to your point, like that struggle with niches. Okay, well, yeah, I want to help business owners, and I want to help coaches, and I want to help content creators. Like if I just choose one, that's just gonna narrow my focus of being able to help all of the people that I can help. And I was
Mhm.
like, yo, I just got to do it. And I was like, if I could go in on one, which one would I commit to for fully? And I was like, yo, coaches. Like coaches is broad in the sense of like coach and how many different coaches there are. And I'm like, yo,
Mhm.
that's the beauty. Like, there's so many different coaches in so many different areas that even if I say, hey, I'm not going to focus on agency owners, I'm not going to focus on content creators, I'm just going to focus on coaches, that's still millions of people. That's
Yep.
still a lot of people whose lives I can help. And guess what? There's going to be like that merging because most coaches now are content creators, right? Most coaches now are launching agencies. And I'm like, yo, it'll all kind of just work together. So that's
Yeah.
when a few months back, I started putting a plan together and I'm like, yo, I got to shift. And I started getting clarity on how do you attract people? Like, what's in it for
Mhm.
them? Okay, why we succeed? What does that name even mean? It was clever, but it's not clear. And that's why I was like, what people care about? They want to multiply their sales. They want more sales, more clients. I was like, yeah, that's what to get people's attention. If I'm scrolling through a podcast, why we succeed ain't gonna make me stop. But multiply my sales, you got my attention. And the fact that I
Exactly.
say, hey, it's only for coaches. Oh, hold on, I'm a coach. I want to get some sales. Let me do this. So in a nutshell, that's how I am where I am now. Like, it's been a process. I've gone through those three T's. I got that clarity, and now I'm developing the confidence and moving in this space and knowing that it'll work. The same way I had success with my previous podcast. Yo, I know what 1 million downloads look like, and I know I could do it again, especially now that I have the same amount of clarity I did when I was operating in the relationship space. So
That talk.
so I mean, like, if anything that you said wasn't resonating, I hope
Yes.
it does now, because like even before we knew we was gonna get on here and have this convo, like who knew that all of those pieces were gonna come to play, and then I could kind of share my experience and show like, yo, that's literally the journey that I've been through.
Yeah. And you will love my succeed method.
Okay,
The
what's that?
succeed is comprised of 6 C's
Okay.
to win in life and business: confidence,
Mm,
clarity,
mhm.
content.
Mm,
You have to build the confidence to even tap into your clarity. You have to create content that connects,
right.
to catapult, which means the marketing and sales,
Yeah.
to get to the, I'm trying to get to the
Cash,
camera,
baby.
cash flow. That's a succeed method that
Wow.
I literally, and this is how I came up with it. I looked at my process, what I failed in, what I flourished
Mhm.
in, how did I get there, and put my own little twang on it,
Wow. I love
right?
it.
So we're talking about the succeed method in the
Yeah.
upcoming masterclass. Shameless plug. And that's what I take my clients through when I work with them. To get to success, you have to go through a process and a method, and it's all about what we talked about today.
Oh man, I love that. I love the 6 C's. Like, yo, you done gave me a lot. Like you gave me the 2 C's earlier. With confidence and clarity, which are part of the 6 C's, right? And
Yes,
then you gave me the 3 T's. I love that. So yeah, man, I'm grateful for it. Yo, if we ever do a live, like we gonna have to do like a bingo, because like, yo, this is so good. What's the C's? What's the T's? Everything, man. It's a fun time. But
for
any other
sure.
questions or any other last or closing words you like to share
Yeah.
before we wrap?
No other questions, but I just want to say thank you so much for having me today. I'm glad we connected. We'll definitely stay in contact. And then if anyone wants to learn more about what I do, you
Yes.
can book a complimentary clarity call. And all you got to do is DM the word breakthrough,
Okay.
and you'll book a complimentary clarity call so I can learn more about who you are, what you need, and see if we're a good match, and go from there. Because I think that anybody can win,
Mhm.
but with support, you can win quicker and you can win more. I would say more effectively than the grit and the grind, if that makes sense.
It does. It does. Wow, yo, this has been amazing. So y'all hear it there. Like, if y'all want to get in contact with LaShana, which I hope y'all do. Like, I mean, she just dropped so many gems on us. Like, yo, she just put us right, gave us so many different processes that we can go and apply. Y'all should definitely send that DM, work with her. I'll have a link to your IG so that way they can go and find you, make it real easy for them to do that. Other than that, LaShana, thank you again for coming on and being a guest on the podcast. You actually rocked out, and you got an
Mhm.
open invitation if you ever want to come back. So thank you.
Awesome. We got to do an IG live together too.
Yo, that'd be fun. Yo, yeah, I'm game for it. Let's do it.
Awesome.
Perfect.